video is very overdue in my opinion. I was going to get it up last weekend. I'm not going to get into excuses, but I'm finally going to be talking about Rings, which I know you guys have been highly anticipating because, well, for one, you've been telling me that you've been anticipating this video, but also you guys know that The Ring is my favorite movie of all time, and it's funny because first thing I'm going to say about this film is when people ask me why do you love The Ring so much, why is it your favorite film, I really don't know what to say a lot of the time because it's not like the best movie in the world, like production-wise, cinematography, everything, well, cinematography though, but everything like that, it's not the best. But this movie, watching Rings in the theater, first of all, that was just an experience, good and bad, which we'll get into, but it was just reaffirming to me why I love this movie so much. And if you just watch the little videotape that is in The Ring, that right there is like a work of art to me and beautiful in my opinion. I know it's creepy, but that's why I love it. First impression of the film was I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I liked it. I went into it knowing I was gonna love it no matter what went on in the film, no matter how bad it really was. I knew I was gonna love it because I never saw Samara on the big screen before, and obviously The Ring's my favorite movie, so I was just excited to see something from the franchise on the big screen because that's never happened to me before. So regardless, I knew I was gonna give it a higher rating, but after the film ended, I was like, oh my god, that was actually not bad. I thought the plot was original. I'm gonna get into it, but oh my gosh, the plot I really enjoyed. There were certain things that I didn't like so much, but let's just give a little summary, okay? So it follows this girl named Julia who gets in, well, her boyfriend goes away to college, which the romance in this film I was not a fan of because The Ring just, it doesn't need a romance. There never was one in the other ones, you know, so to have one in this one seemed kind of weird to me, but I understand they're kind of appealing to the general audience, which there were moments in this film and like the jump scares that I could see they put in there because they knew it would appeal more to the general audience versus true horror fans, which were a minority in moviegoers, you know, but I was kind of disappointed in those aspects. So she doesn't hear from her boyfriend for a little while, and so she decides to, well, she gets this weird Skype call from this girl named Sky, and so she decides to go to the school where he's at, and that was all kind of unrealistic. The fact she walked into this classroom, which that can happen, you can walk into a classroom. She walks in there, and then the guy like calls her out, and then class ends, she talks to him, she like stalks him or something. She finds this like lab where they're all doing this study called the Samara experience, and it was just like, that part of the plot I didn't like because it felt like they were reaching to figure out how do we make this digital, you know, because obviously the original, it's on a videotape, a VHS tape. So they wanted to modernize that, which I can respect. We're in 2017, I get it. So they modernized it by making it online. So basically you can create a copy of it on your computer, show it to someone else, and they're called your tail, which that was a new term that was introduced in this movie, which I'm okay with. They don't have to do a complete homage to the original in it as long as it still has the same kind of feeling of the original, which it did. I was very happy with it. I probably would have done a little bit more, but how much they did give tribute and storyline and everything to the original, I was very happy with. So basically her boyfriend's running out of time, she watches the tape, hence the movie starts kind of from there, and then they start to figure out weird things happening. So I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant, which you can skip forward a little bit if you want to hear spoilers and what I thought about the end of the film and things like that, because I will talk about that in a second. I just have a little beef with, I'm not gonna blame movies and like directors and stuff because there are turkeys fighting on the roof right in front of me and it's really distracting. Anyway, I'm not gonna blame people for rating movies PG-13 because, you know, that's fair. They can rate it whatever they want. If I ever made a movie, it would definitely be R-rated. I just feel like you could do a lot with it, but then again, the original Ring movie was PG-13, as was the second, so I get that they wanted to maintain that. But can we just have a second to mourn me missing certain parts of the film because of the teenagers sitting next to me? I've never been in such a bad situation in my life in a theater. Like, we picked the worst seats to sit in. If I had known that they were gonna sit there, we wouldn't have sat there. Like, oh my god. I actually have audio footage of this experience because it was just so bad. I'll go ahead and play it right now so you can just hear what I was dealing with throughout the film.
Ow. Yeah.
So they were screaming, that's not even the worst, what I just showed you, that's not even bad. That was tolerable. I was trying to get a worse moment, but that's all I got. But they were screaming like, I love you, Edgar. I don't understand. It was just a terrible experience. And now you're probably wondering, why didn't you say something? I'm a very passive person, and I was so close because it was a Ring movie. I was like, you guys cannot ruin this for me right now. So I tried my hardest to tune them out and just focus on the film, and it worked for a little bit. There's another funny story that goes along with this. If you want to hear it, I recommend checking out my horror podcast, which I never verbally told you guys, but I do have a horror podcast. I will link it down below. It's on SoundCloud. But we kind of tell a story in that of what my roommate did to scare the whole audience. They all screamed. It was hilarious. Anyway, go check that out if you want to hear that. Because this video is not about that. Anyway, that's my kind of little rant. I'm just tired of teenagers being annoying in movie theaters. Anyway, so now I'm gonna get into kind of spoilers and the actual storyline, because I can't really talk about it too much without spoiling certain plot points, which I don't want to spoil for you guys, but highly, highly recommend you see this in theaters. Like, please go see it. It needs to do well at the box office so they can continue to make these movies, because I'm so excited about this kind of new franchise they're creating. Okay, so one of the things that happens in the movie that I did not like was the braille on her hand. Like, why? I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the circle on her back. I didn't like any of that. That's not accurate to what the Ring really was. I know they're trying to create new things that happen to you, but basically this movie was different because Julia's tape, when she makes a copy, they can't copy it. And so the other guy finds out there's like a film within her film of her copy. The turkey is staring me down. So they play that for her. She watches it. I loved that. I was kind of hoping they would create a new tape in a way, you know, like the first one. You know what I'm talking about, the one that you watch where you die. And the first time they played that, I was like, wait a second, there's a bird in there. That is not in there. And I was gonna get mad at first. I was gonna be like, okay, no. But then you realize that little section is actually where her videotape is. And I loved it. It was beautiful. It was modern, but still very much like The Ring, still disturbing. They weren't afraid to be as disturbing as the first one was, which I was a little nervous because I knew by the trailer they were appealing to a general audience. And so I was like, what are they gonna cut out? What are they gonna not do because they're afraid to disturb people too much? So the braille on her hand, coincidentally, she runs into a blind man. How convenient. I mean, it comes full circle. He does actually read her hand. That part I missed because of the teens over here, but I guess he read her hand. I couldn't hear, so I'm kind of annoyed, but anyway. You find out though that that is actually Samara's biological father, which I loved. I love that they got it more into the biological parents, because we saw Evelyn before, and basically he was a preacher that kept the mom locked away because she wanted to kill her child, her unborn child, which was Samara, of course. And then when she was born, the dad couldn't take it anymore, so he took his own eyesight because he couldn't take seeing the images that Samara was basically showing him, because something is weird with Samara, right? And now with the ending, the whole time I'm like, where is the part where she chokes on the hair pulling out of her throat? Where's the ring on her back? Where's all of that, right? The mirror where she wipes it away and Samara's right there. None of that had happened yet, but the climax already happened. The conclusion was happening. They were like happy together again, the couple that is. And I was like, where are those scenes? And then I was like, maybe they're just not in the movie and they were in the trailer. That's fine, because they were cheesy anyway. But no, they happen. At the end of the film, you see that she's getting out of the shower. She has these reactions. She's like coughing up the hair. You find out she is possessed by Samara. Hence, a sequel to this sequel. And I think that's why they changed the title, honestly, to Rings instead of like The Ring 3, because they're creating a new franchise. So like, it's homage to The Ring, but it's kind of a new, its own thing now, you know what I'm saying? So, which I can respect, because yes, The Ring was made in like 2002, it's kind of outdated, and so they're gonna modernize it a bit and create a whole new series. So naturally they're gonna do Rings 2, probably called Rebirth, because that's what her hand said in Braille. But overall, I was extremely happy with this movie and the way it ended up and where it went. The scares were still scary. You still see the faces of people who died because of Samara, which I loved. So anyway, let let me know your thoughts down below if you were disappointed or pleasantly surprised in this movie. I've seen some negative reviews, which I can understand, but like I said, regardless, I was gonna like it because it is a part of the movie that I love, my favorite movie of all time, so obviously I was gonna like it probably more than the normal person. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave some movie requests down below. Yes, Autopsy of Jane Doe is coming, don't worry, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.